Remember that you are not...
Health alert! Leakage detected.
Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? You must have seen those UDL guns. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off, which means I never get to do this part. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries... Aw, please... Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar... We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch here. Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes... But that's all outside our wall. Oh, sure. It makes Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not. Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. Oh, sure. Anyway, Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. Oh, and if you're headed that way, I got this Rizzo's Rangers tossball poster only I haven't heard anything in a while. That's Bertie Holcomb.
I wonder if he's kin. Dad had family that worked for Rizzo's. I never got...
Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the game. On account of him being the best hacker who ever... Well, Holcomb's had a lot of nicknames over his career. Before that, he was the Slick Stick, because of I swear I'm not. At the start of his career, I couldn't really say I'm just a fan. But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And I figured... Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the...
We don't get many outsiders.
Laws. Can't a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor? What I am doing, sir, is This law's forgotten town. I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with days of consumption and culture. Look, you're making me melancholy.
Well, well. Isn't often we see new... Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you? Not since Amber Heights. These days we have... Bunch of marauders broke into the executive compound, slaughtered... I thought everyone knew. But then that was 10 years ago. Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Nope. Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you?
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood. So it's getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. Don't interrupt, it's rude. But I gotta get in there. Shit, I don't know what I'd do. Right. What are you staring? Wait. Name's Nyoka.
You're also the loudest big game hunter on the planet.
Shut the fuck. Fair point.
My dad always kept his firearms and liquors in different lockers. Said it.
Out here, if you ain't a little buzzed, you're liable to notice the stench of life. Ooh, charmer. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you? Well. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But well, they work.
You won't find a better deal in Halcyon than our special one-time offer for a...
What in the...
Velma seen out of sorts to you? She's always cranky.
If Velma's capable of running the warehouse, she can certainly pick up her own caffeinoid.
Don't be so hard on her. With Brax missing, she's working doubles and needs a little edge.
Very well, dearie. But you stop by any time you like, hmm?
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind.
Hello, dearie. Why, I don't... What can Auntie Abigail do for you? And what a helpful young man you are. Who's your lucky friend, dearie? Aren't you a saucy thing? I may not be a fresh young thing anymore, but with age comes experience, dearie. Much as I'd love to, my rheumatism is especially fierce at the moment, but I'd hate to send you away empty-handed. Oh, her. It's none of my business, but I have told her Dr. Williams would bump up her monthly allotment if only she'd join MSI. Now I've gone and said too much. I'm afraid not. Dr. Williams managed the town's allotments from his in the town graveyard, I'm afraid. Poor man was always searching for the flower of enlightenment. It's a philosophist symbol of some kind, dearie. The graveyard's near the southern ruins. You're certainly welcome to pay our respects, but do be careful. I'd hate for anything to happen to you, dearie. Oh, you flatter an old woman. And to keep an extra key to the supply room, for all the times Dr. Williams misplaced his. The one upstairs, where we store our medicines. Chin up, dearie.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meal.
Wrapped mask and painted eyes, right here.
Please, I need your help. I can pay. Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone, please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. Don't you tell me to calm down. He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago.
Oh, law, Captain. A youngster won't last long in a place like this.
Please, won't you go and find my boy? He's been pining for an adventure. I warned him. A raptidon would snap him up first chance it got. He should have listened to his mama. I promised. He's been listening to those awful broadcasts that the iconoclasts put out. And now I just know my boy's run off to Amber Heights. That old settlement, southwest of Stellar Bay. Or that he never made it. Sprats could be nesting in his rotting body. Or maybe marauders got him. Those low-life degenerates, leading innocent boys into a life of danger. How noble is it to worry your loved ones? Not at all, I say. If they weren't holed up in Amber Heights, I'd knock them off. Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now that someone's able to fetch him home. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouths.
Ooh. Smells like those old Sundays when we'd unload Saltuna shipments at the cannon.
Deploying odor neutralizing. Aerosol spray now. Entering quiet mode. Caution!
Great work!
Here they come!
Ah, the charmer. All of the above? More or less dangerous than a... Whew, that hit... Great. Where to? Oh, Hiram? I ain't checked in on that man in an age. We'll be going south and west, mostly along the road till we're past Fallbrook. Out there's a western slope that'll lead us through some fun. If you're more of a spelunker, Rotting River will take you into the mountain caverns. That said, 3's already a crowd. I don't mind waiting somewhere until you got a spot open.
I hope you like being part of our crew, Nyoka. We're really...
Admirable work, Miss Nyoka.
Oh, no. Monarch ain't safe, even with me around. I've just got intimate knowledge of its dangers and an abundance of fortitude. Folks hire me because I know what you can shoot and what you ought to run from. That's a mistake you only get to make once. Can we talk? Hey, got a favor to ask you. Figure while we're out here in the wilderness anyhow, preferably before we get to Hiram's. You don't seem the type to run off and get yourself killed. Well, I'll be upfront with you. I hate asking for help. I hate it. But this, what I'm thinking? Nothing we can't handle. I used to run with a band of hunters. Friends. 6 of us. I haven't seen 2 of them in years, and the rest I know to be dead. I'd like to gather their effects and bury them all in this. I saw it happen. His name was Hayes, and he's our first stop. I'll show you where he rests. He had a medallion in his effects. A long time ago, we built an encampment in one of Monarch's cave systems. If we can find Rebecca and Anders, they'll know how to lure her out. Then... oh, yes. Good old Stellar Bay. Only place on the planet that don't stink of sulfur. On account of it stinking like a fish instead.
You reckon the smell ever goes away? Maybe the wind helps.
All together! Poor cat!
Huh?
Come out and play!
were coming real close to eating me. You, what are you doing out here? Not that I'm complaining, but... Oh, well, okay. Thanks for the help. I've got to pick up some things from the bay, but I run a little... I'll see you on the road sometime.
Nice work. Watch your feet. The sulfur pools don't just sink. They'll take a toe off.
Well, hello, and welcome to the home of the Iconoclast. In it, you'll find everything you need to know about Graham. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Why, we're the only free people in Halcyon. No corporations, no Oh, those are just hurdles. You're welcome to stay with us. That's a nice way to think about it. Graham would be our father. You can think of those two as our leaders, but why, he's our founder. Graham taught us about philosophism. I'm glad you're asking, by the way. She's been with us since the beginning. She goes and finds people in the wilderness and gets them to come here. She's liable to take your head off if you screw up, but Graham's place is in the large building straight back. Thora's sometimes there talking with him, but oh, Graham settled here a long time ago. I wasn't around back then, but they say a lot of the old MSI corporate folks died here. The new boy! Yes, he's quite clever. Last I saw him, he was headed into one of the buildings up.
I ought to mention, the Iconoclasts are loyal folk. Treat them right, they'll do the same. Turn on them, they'll open fire without a second thought.
Everybody here looks wore out. Is it just me?
I don't have time for this. Looks like I'm not the only new face around here. Oh, come on. We like to be friendly around here. At the least, let me call you Captain. So then, Captain, welcome to Amber Heights. You here to join the Iconoclast? I am not a little boy. Haven't been one for decades. According to her, stepping foot outside of the house in broad daylight is too dangerous. Don't go play with friends. Mantisaurs will tear your arms off. I stuck around way too long, ruled by her fears. I'm 42 years old, but she doesn't want to see me as anything other than her baby boy. You're right. I can do this. I just need to stand my ground and make...
Oh, Captain, you did it!
Mama, I told you that I'm not staying.
Oh, we'll get that silliness sorted out. What a sour thing to say.
Mama, what I need is for you to listen to what I want for once.
Here, kind stranger. This is every bit I've scrimped and scraped for years to save.
South here, off the road and down this slope. We've got a decent trek ahead of us.
Here we go!
action! Big mistake!
As your engineer, I advise you not to set foot on that, especially the bendy parts.
What was it like in Edgewater? I hear you workers were on the clock every available moment.
We always got 8 hours a day for sleeping. Just not always consecutive.
My condolences. I appreciate consistent wages like any other sane person, but that still sounds awful. At least Sanjar gives his folks weekends.
Weekends?
Hand to the void. I used to drop by the bar in Stellar Bay to knock a few back with the folks who had Saturdays off.
Don't know what I'd have done with that much time. I was always behind schedule anyhow.
Knowing you, you'd sit and be alone with your thoughts.
Here we go! That's the last of them!
Fallbrook's on the other side of the bridge there if you need a drink. We're only halfway to the mountain, so might consider stopping in.
Ready for this!
With us?
Hello there. A word, if I may be so bold? Well now, here I thought those mantisaurs had peacefully exited the premises. Name's Weston. Every once in a while I set up shop along these here roads. Care to purchase a thing or two?
Come out and play with us.
Okay, here we go.
Hear that? Who goes?
Look northwest. That ain't it, but marauders sometimes camp inside the buildings there. Steer clear unless you fancy getting shot. Westbound still. I'll let you know when we can start ascending.
Here we go. Nice one. Don't miss.
Come out and play with us.
Okay, here we go.
Hear that? Who goes?
I call this Rotting River, on account of all the dead things I've thrown in it over the years. It'll take you into the Devil's Peak Caverns if you follow it under the bridge. That's one option. Others the slope up. If you're up for some fun, let's chat. Look northwest. That ain't it, but marauders sometimes camp inside the buildings there. Steer clear unless you fancy getting shot. Westbound still. I'll let you know when we can start ascending. What's up?
Here we go.
Let's see.
Nice one.
These caves lead up through the mountain. What's up? Right. We can take the caverns up, but if you ain't into spelunking, there's a path a little ways north. Big bad's up on that hill. I'm game to hunt them if you are, but... What's up? What's with the pleasantries? You want to know something? Just ask. I didn't. I was born into security detail. I mean, I wasn't sent off to school like I should have been. I'm breathing sulfur since I knew how to smell it. I don't have a single spot I call home. But yes. In a sense. My parents took off when the corporations did. No, we weren't close. And before you ask, there ain't a story there. We just never... I call this... It ain't exactly easy to hitch a ride off planet, Captain. It'll take you into the Devil's Peak Caverns if you follow it under the bridge. That's one option. Others the slope up. You up for some fun? I took a job once to clear out a rat nest. Bit on the shorter side. Had a penchant for cards. He had a flowery presence to him. A pleasantness that didn't invade your space. When we set out to hunt down the Raptidons, I found out firsthand. Dirty Don killed those Raptidons with his bare hands. In the end, he stood drenched in blood. These caves lead up through the mountain. Dozen raps. If he had a... What's up? Day came when he tried to take on a mannequin. We can take the caverns up, but if you ain't into spelunking, there's a path a little ways north. No matter how tough you are. If you're gonna fight something bigger than that hill, bring a firearm. I'm game to hunt them if you are, but... What's up? What's with the pleasantries? You wanna know something? Just ask. I didn't. I was born into security detail. The caves back east are safest. I mean, I wasn't sent off to school like I should have been. Breathing sulfur since I knew how to smell it. I don't have a single spot I call home. But, yes.
Here we go.
In a sense. My parents took off and the corporations did. No, we weren't close.
This is fun, isn't it?
And before you ask,
Nice
there ain't a
view,
story there. We just never...
Exercise and fresh air.
It ain't exactly easy to hitch a ride off planet, Captain.
It is a trek, isn't it? Almost like we don't have
Good.
working lifts or roads.
I took a job once to clear out a rat nest. Bit on the shorter side. Had a penchant for cards.
Clear the sulfur
He
side.
had a flowery presence to him. A pleasantness that didn't invade your space. When we set out to hunt down the Raptidons, I found out firsthand, Dirty Don killed those Raptidons with his bare hands. In the end, he stood drenched in blood over the entrails of a dozen raps. If he had a... Day came when he tried to take on a Mantiqueen. Oh well, live and learn. No matter how tough you are, if you're gonna fight something bigger than you, bring a firearm. Hayes was the best self-sacrificing son of a saint I ever met. Halcyon is worse off without him. Now, if we're gonna lure the Mantiqueen out, we'll need to find Rebecca and Anders. Think it's time I call in a favor with
caves
Hiram.
back east are safest. We can head up this path if you want to shoot.
I don't
your
know
way
much
through
about
a few
it.
nightmares
It
on your
paid
way
well,
out.
so they took it. That was a long time ago. I should have. But soon after they left, Hayes and the others died. And to be honest, after him, I stopped trying.
This is fun, isn't it? Nice view.
Thanks.
Exercise
Still
and
not
fresh
convinced I
air.
won't come to regret it,
Well,
but...
self-raised
Now, come on.
story.
Let's make tracks before Hiram dies of old
It is
age.
a trek, isn't it? Almost like we don't have working lifts or roads. Raps. Let's clear this sulfur sodden fucks out so Hayes can rest in peace. Ready, go! Nice shot, Captain.
Hayes was the best self-sacrificing son of a saint I ever met. Halcyon is worse off without him. Now, if we're gonna lure the Mantiqueen out, we'll need to find Rebecca and Anders. Think it's time I call in a favor with Hiram. I don't know much about it. It paid well, so they took it. That was a long time ago. I should have, but soon after they left, Hayes and the others died. And to be honest, after him, I stopped trying. Thanks. I'm still not convinced I won't come to regret it, but... Now, come on. Let's make tracks before Hiram dies of old age.
Look up. That makeshift bridge, we gotta cross it. First we go under, then hook around to the left, then up and over. Look up. That makeshift bridge, we gotta cross it. First we go under, then hook around to the left, then up and over. Nicely done. Tunnel here. Nicely done. Ah, shit. That's a big one. We can tiptoe around to the left or go in guns blazing.
Over here!
That assist was a violation of corporate law if I ever saw one. Since it was to my benefit,
Tunnel here.
and we're largely in lawless lands, I'll look the other way. You haven't seen Constance, have you? Ah, there's her torso.
What in the void are you thinking, creep?
At the time, I was thinking, please don't see me, oh law, I don't want to die, nah. Killing marauders and hooligans, as I am handsomely paid to do. Of course, as me and Constance discovered, they ain't the only forms of life in I owe you a debt for saving my neck, stranger. There's a station up the way. It's where my C3s are posted. We can talk more there where it's safe.
That's a big one. We can tiptoe around to the left or go in guns blazing. Up to you. I vote the latter.
Over here!
That assist was a violation of corporate law if I ever saw one. Since it was to my benefit, and we're largely in lawless lands, I'll look the other way. You haven't seen Constance, have you? Ah, there's her torso.
What in the void are you thinking, creep?
At the time, I was thinking, please don't see me, oh law, I don't want to die, nah. Killing marauders and hooligans, as I am handsomely paid to do. Of course, as me and Constance discovered, they ain't the only forms of life in I owe you a debt for saving my neck, stranger. There's a station up the way. It's where my C3s are posted. We can talk more there where it's safe.
Incoming! Don't mess with
Meet me at the camp. And try not to get shot on approach.
Incoming! Don't mess with me.
What's up?
Meet me at the camp. And try not to get shot on approach.
And here we are. Told you we'd make it in one piece. Station ain't too far now.
Hey, you! Get over here! There are marauders up ahead! This station's under the protection of the corporate compliance crew. You a marauder? 'Cause me and my sunshine? That's my gun, if you were wondering. A coherent enough response, I reckon. You're clear, but I would caution you against pressing on ahead. Me and Sunshine
What's
are
up?
doing exactly what we've been tasked with. There is nothing I'd enjoy more, but the C3s play it by the book. Usually. You ought to talk to my crew. They're guarding a small barracks to the southeast. See that path that runs underneath that giant archway? Follow it on down.
And here we are. Told you we'd make it in one piece. Station ain't too far now.
Hey, you! Get over here! There are marauders up ahead! This station's under the protection of the corporate compliance crew. You a marauder? 'Cause me and my sunshine, that's my gun if you were wondering. A coherent enough response, I reckon. You're clear, but I would caution you against pressing on ahead. Me and Sunshine are doing exactly what we've been tasked with. There is nothing I'd enjoy more, but the C3s
Hey,
play it by the
Queen
book.
Slayer. Glad you made it in one piece.
You ought to talk
Meet
to
my
my
corporate
crew.
compliance crew.
They're guarding a small
Then check out our
barracks to the
weapons locker
southeast.
inside. Then we call it even between.
See that path that runs underneath that giant archway?
We were hired
Follow
to
it
do
on
so.
down.
Why else? Our client's a bit unorthodox, sure. He calls himself the broker. And our current gig's to stop, by means of lethal force, any creatures exiting the caverns. The corporate model is the oldest and most efficient, not to mention stable structure history has ever shown us. I lead the C3s. Addie covers our payroll and expenditures. Our system works. You drive a hard bargain, Queen Slayer. It don't make much financial sense for C3 to expend resources on any killing beyond the contract stipulations. At the same time, we do want to keep our client alive. We recommended the client safeguard himself, so I don't expect that the main doors will be accessible. I'd best radio ahead for Joy and Hudson to prep for us. They'll be at the station entrance, ready with...
We're locked and loaded. Joy and Hudson know you're coming. They'll back you in the frontal assault on Devil's Peak.
Got a problem? Maybe I can help.
Thank the architect! Bertolt's back!
Hey, Queen Slayer. Glad you made it in one piece. Meet my corporate compliance crew. Then check out our weapons locker inside. Then we call it even between. We were hired to do so. Why else? Our client's a bit unorthodox, sure. He calls himself the broker. And our current gig's to stop, by means of lethal force, any creatures exiting the caverns. The corporate model is the oldest and most efficient, not to mention stable structure history has ever shown us. I lead the C3s. Addie covers our payroll and expenditures. Our system works. You drive a hard bargain, Queen Slayer. It don't make much financial sense for C3 to expend resources on any killing beyond the contract stipulations. At the same time, we do want to keep our client alive. We recommended the client safeguard himself, so I don't expect that the main doors will be accessible. I'd best radio ahead for Joy and Hudson to prep for us. They'll be at the station entrance, ready with...
We're locked and loaded. Joy and Hudson know you're coming. They'll back you in the frontal assault on Devil's Peak.
Got a problem? Maybe I can help.
Thank the architect! Bertolt's back!
You ever been off Monarch, Mioka? Before you met the captain, I mean.
Nah, I mostly just drank and hunted.
There you are.
As soon as you stop to dream of other things.
I always wanted to poacher a high-gain wireless. They only got one on Terra 2, you know. Up in Byzantium.
To be honest, surprised it's still standing. Every time I set foot inside, I half expect the tower to fall over.
Fox radioed ahead. Said I'm to follow you. Provide whatever support you need. I gotta warn you, my girl Sunshine here is a tad trigger-happy. Oh. Ain't it the same, really? I'd say me and my piece meet each other halfway on the issue. We can tell friend from foe, mind you. I'm just gonna put this out there. That is a dumb fucking idea. But it's your call. We'll still back you up if you run into trouble. Go on ahead. C3's got your 6.
You ever been off Monarch, Mioka? Before you met the captain, I mean.
Nah, I mostly just drank.
There you are.
As soon as you stop to dream of other things.
I always wanted to poacher a high-gain wireless. They only got one on Terra 2, you know.
Something's not right.
To be honest, surprised it's still standing. Every time I set foot inside, I half expect the tower to fall over.
Fox radioed ahead. Said I'm to follow you.
Everyone all right?
Provide whatever support you need. I gotta warn you, my girl Sunshine here is a tad trigger-happy. Oh. Ain't it the same, really? I'd say me and my piece meet each other halfway on the issue. We can tell friend from foe, mind you. I'm just gonna put this out there. That is a dumb fucking idea. But it's your call. We'll still back you up if you run into trouble. Best hurry.
Hiram must
Go
have
on
sealed
ahead.
the door.
C3's got your 6.
He spooks easy.
You may not realize this because you're an outsider, but the blaring alarms indicate the station's on lockdown. Huh? Gonna find something already.
About that. Everyone all right?
The fighting ain't gonna get easier on the inside. Best hurry.
Hiram must have sealed the door. He spooks easy.
realize this, being as you're an outsider, but blaring alarms indicate the station's on lockdown. Which means you can't ever get so leave already.
About that.
Out there, whoever you are, yes, I can see you. Come here and talk to me. Base to intercom. I can't tell if you're brave or simply touched in the head. And you, Nyoka.
You could use the socialization yourself. Also, he hired me.
To what purpose? I happen to have some significant problems I am dealing with right now. No. We'll deal with information-related business later. As I said, there are bigger problems threatening. The Marauders want me dead. And since my hired hands have clearly turned idle, it appears I need you to clear out the threat.
Or we can call you Hiram, on account of that's your damn name, and...
What? Everyone calls me that. Oh, now they'll take action. It's about time, I tell you. I barricaded the broadcast center, but I can only hold out for so long. They destroy the transmission equipment, and I'll be out of business.
Huh?
The elevator and doors to the second floor are back online. Too many, considering I hired a bunch of no-good mercs to keep them. Already, they've caused considerable damage to the station's property. Aside from the bits, I'll be paying you. You said you wanted something from me. Something information-related. I'll give it to you. In person. You out there. Whoever you are, yes, I can see you. Come here and talk to me. Base to intercom.
Nicely done.
I can't tell if you're brave or simply touched in the head. And you, Nyoka.
You could use the socialization yourself. Also, he hired me.
To what purpose? I happen to have some significant problems I am dealing with right now. No. We'll deal with information-related business later. As I said, there are bigger problems threatening. The Marauders want me dead. And since my hired hands have clearly turned idle, it appears I need you to clear out the threat. To your right.
Or we can call you Hiram, on account of that's your damn name, and...
What? Everyone calls me that. Oh, now they'll take action. It's about time, I tell you. I barricaded the broadcast center, but I can only hold out for so long. They destroy the transmission equipment, and I'll be out of business. The elevator and doors to the second floor are back online. Too many, considering I hired a bunch of no-good
Light 'em
mercs
on
to keep
fire,
them.
ladies and
Already
gents!
they've caused considerable damage to the station's property. Aside from the bits I'll be paying. You said you wanted something from me. something information related. I'll give it to you in person.
Nicely done. Everyone okay? Great.
Hey, elevators to your right. Get ready. C3's entering through the main doors as we speak. About damn time.
Light 'em on fire, ladies and gents!
Something's not right.
Everyone okay? Great.
That's the last of them, I think.
Ah, Marauder free at last. I'll get the door. You'll hurry on in.
Great work.
That's the last of them, I think.
Marauder free at last. I'll get the door. You'll hurry on in.
Never thought I'd be ecstatic at having the walls painted in blood, but... And you got me my money's worth out of the C3s. Oh no, my business is in trade. Now, this ought to square our debt. One hefty payment for a highly valued service rendered. But allow me to pose my question in another manner. Why, in the nebula, are you here? That is the primary goal behind locking myself high in a tower. Phineas must have sent you. He's the only one insane enough to send someone to Monarch to rush me. I knew it was only a matter of time before he came a-knocking. Look, I might be late.
Oh, you do you? I have lost track of the number of beers you owe me for chasing raptidons off your stoop.
Are you fibbing? Be honest.
I take offense to that. Just, it might take me a while this time. I am awaiting but a single incoming transmission containing the information we desire. But MSI and the Iconoclasts are clogging the airwaves from Stellar Bay and Amber Heights. The bandwidth! There's too much blasted background noise, which of course has inadvertently affected the incoming port and my... No, they're jamming the limited frequencies we have at our disposal. The safest bet is to convince Graham and Sanjar to stop transmitting on their end. And you got me my money's worth out of the C3s. My former partner, Sanjar, transmits from his office in MSI's my business is in the center of town. No, don't let him try to fool you. While one hefty payment for a highly valued service but allow me to pose my question in another manner. Amber Heights is one of the only surviving settlements outside of Stellar. Are you here? Graham Bryant and the Iconoclasts there got their hands on a working relay station. That is the primary goal. Graham and his Iconoclasts believe anarchy is the way of life. Phineas must have sent you. Sanjar opposes it. He's the only one insane enough to send someone to Monarch to rush me. I knew it was only a matter of time before he came a-knocking. I'll be here, waiting on the receiving end. I might be late. Luck be with you.
You do,
I have a feeling you'll be needing a pinch of it.
I have lost track of the number of beers you owe me for chasing raptidons off your stoop.
Is that a trick
question? Are you fibbing?
Because to answer it, you'd need to pay me. Of course, I could offer you a vastly more interesting bit of data. It might take me a while this time. We'll call it an exchange for your help. I'm awaiting but a single incoming transmission containing the information we desire. But MSI and the Iconoclasts are clogging the airwaves from Stellar Bay and Amber Heights. If you try to cite me on this, I will deny. There's too much blasted background noise. MSI's ownership of Monarch affected the incoming port and... Exactly. But no, you didn't jamming the limited frequencies we have at our disposal. The safest bet is to convince Graham and Sanjar to stop transmitting on their end. They are a curious lot. My former partner, Sanjar, transmits from his office in MSI's headquarters performance reviews. But he can keep hunting for loopholes to get back on the board for the next century. I understand why he needs the bandwidth, but for Nebula's sake, even with the loophole, Amber Heights is one of the only surviving settlements outside of Stellar because every other Graham Bryant and the Iconoclasts there got their hands on a working relay station. I gave Sanjar and Graham legal information that would allow MSI to Graham and his Iconoclasts believe anarchy is the had their concerns, but before the matter Sanjar could be resolved, it, as he's taking strides to corporatize Stellar Bay. You do that, I'll be here, waiting on the receiving. Graham suffers from nightmares. Luck be with you. I have a feeling you'll be needing a pinch of it. I would assume it stems from the friends and family he lost in Amber Heights. Is that a trick question? Because to answer it, you'd need to pay. You mean between MSI, the Iconoclasts, and myself? A vastly more interesting bit of data. Back when the colony was still Terra 1 and corporations were abandoning us left and right with the broadcast. I'm the one who approached Sanjar and Graham with the means to our salvation. I offered them a legal way to take control of the planet. If you try to cite me on this, I will
Precisely.
deny.
Without me, they never would
have done more than play
MSI's
revolution
ownership of Monarch
over.
is technically
Thus,
legal,
the bargain was
but it-
struck. They could run MSI while I would operate Devil's Peak Station.
Exactly.
But you didn't hear so much as a whisper
Competing
of such
ideologies.
from me. Graham believes Sanjar has become corrupted by
Luckily
the corporate
for you,
lifestyle.
I am a veritable
And
font of
Sanjar has
information.
learned the hard way that Graham is quite morally. They are a curious lot. Luckily for you, Sanjar is not actually at fault for his past performance reviews, but he can keep hunting for loopholes to get back on the board for the next century. Not in his lifetime. Has been in hiding for the past 35 years. For Nebula's sake, even with the loophole
As far as what's
I
between
gave
us,
him, he's only
outside
in charge
of
of
that,
MSI because
well,
every other exec
that's a
died during the
raptidon of
massacre
another
at Amber
color.
Heights. I do know this
I gave
much. Sanjar and Graham legal
There is a
information
sharper
that would
side
allow
to the good
MS
side to
scientists
own
than you'd
Terra One.
expect.
The
If
execs had their
allegations are to
concerns,
be
but before the
believed,
matter could be
the
resolved,
experiments he conducts
pirates
for the greater
raided their
good
homes in the
are in
night.
fact treasonous and for self-gain. I am not convinced as to the validity of these allegations. Graham suffers from nightmares that leave him sweat-drenched and screaming. Luckily for
I would
you,
assume
I am a veritable
it stems
font
from
of
the
friends and
information.
family he lost in Amber Heights. What?
You
No.
mean between MSI,
Why
the
would I go out of
iconoclasts,
my
and
way to
myself?
intercept messages
I
from
bet
Earth?
back when the colony
Now,
was still
if you
Terra
wanted
1
me
and
to intercept a
corporations were
certain
abandoning
one,
us left and
that
right,
might be worth it. I'm the one who approached Sanjar and Graham with the means to our salvation.
How low you seemingly regard my
I
trade.
offered them a legal way to take control of the planet. I may have a secret for you. Precisely.
How low
Without
you-
me, they never would have done more than play revolution in hushed
I love
whispers
doing
over
pro bono work
Thus,
for
the
friends.
bargain was struck.
Aw,
They could
you
run
called us
MSI
friends.
while I would operate Devil's
I'd
Peak
normally
Station.
entertain your self-aggrandizing delusions, but this time
Competing
it's important.
ideologies. Graham
Important
believes
to you
Sanjar
is
has
not
become
the same
corrupted
as
by the
important
corporate
to me.
lifestyle. And Sanjar has learned the hard way that Graham is quite morally. Tug on my heartstrings, why don't you? Look, I'll do what I can. I am a veritable font.
Rebecca
of
Hodges
information.
and Anders Wadsworth. They took a UDL contract back
much,
when Monarch went to shit, and I need to find them. I believe them to be on Terra
for
2.
the past 35
If
years.
UDL hired 2 hunters
As
back
far as
then,
what's between us, it would have been for creature clearing
outside of
purposes
that,
well,
these are the coordinates for
that's
the
a
outpost
raptidon
under the
of
last
another
UDL
color.
contract.
I do know this
Sure.
much.
You know where to find me.
There
if
is
you
a
need me.
sharper side to the good scientist than you'd expect. If allegations are to be believed, the experiments he conducts for the greater good are in fact treasonous and for self-gain. I am not convinced as to the validity of these allegations, considering the source. Luckily for you, I am a veritable font of information. What? No. Why would I go out of my way to intercept messages from Earth? Now, if you wanted me to intercept a certain one, that might be worth it. How low you seemingly regard my trade. I may have a secret for you. How low you... Oh, great. I love doing pro bono work for friends.
Aw, you called us friends. I'd normally entertain your self-aggrandizing delusions, but this time it's important.
Important to you is not the same as important to me. Tug on my heartstrings, why don't you? Look, I'll do what I can, all right?
Rebecca Hodges and Anders Wadsworth. They took a UDL contract back when Monarch went to shit, and I need to find them. I believe them to be on Terra 2.
If UDL hired 2 hunters back then, it would have been for creature clearing purposes. These are the coordinates for the outpost under the last UDL contract. Sure. You know where to find me if you need me.
now in orbit above Edgewater, Captain.
Got my sights on you.
That's the last of them!
Hey, take a gander. The door's busted. Rebecca? Huh. Rebecca taught me this once. You can jerry-rig these old locks so as they don't open anymore. But we've only ever done that if we're in a real bind.
Oh no. Oh no. What did you do? Oh, Nyoka. I'm so sorry.
They were... That bitch! They were all set to abandon us! What would Clara say, huh? Every day she'd ask if we heard from you. And she'd have forgiven you! The kid had a soul that made the sulfur smell like roses! I'd to leave your medallions to rot with you, but Clara would want to be buried with her sister. At least I know. Ought to have learned by now that getting one's hopes up tends to open them to being dashed across the stars. I hate to say this, but Clara died thinking her sister was still fighting to get back home. Yeah, maybe. I'm used to disappointment. Only thing left is to take these medallions home. The most pissed off I've ever seen a queen was when a foreign species was on her soil. That'd be boring. Half the fun in exploring is the fact that you're on an unknown trail. I've never had the pleasure of hunting primals, but I hear they're all over Scylla.
We are now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain. No blockade is a match for my piloting skills.
What do you think you're doing?
I don't have time for this. Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in Raptidon tongue? You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts.
Sebastian, you ever get your hands on those pheromone sacs?
I must have hunted a dozen.
Manipillars ain't got pheromone sacs.
At least I'm getting a good haul of claws in the process. You're in good hands, traveling with Monarch's top merc. I don't know. Celia usually buys whatever I have, and Mr. Pickett seemed real interested. So I thought maybe I was onto something.
Mr. Pickett? Franklin Pickett from Edgewater?
That's him. He'd been here years, but he always talked about going back to Edgewater one day.
Sure. Mr. Pickett used to run the community center outside Edgewater. He had this grand idea to make it a museum for Halcyon life. As my dad told it, Mr. Pickett was always going on about getting a Manta Queen for the last display.
He came to Stellar Bay years ago, just before the board cut us off. Ended up stuck here.
I kept telling him he was a fool for chasing Mana Queen tail. Anyway.
Oh my. Well, I hope he's all right. Sure, they're real big. Hard to miss them. Well, I could send you to the same place I sent Mr. Pickett.
Captain, can we look for him? I'd feel awful if somebody from home was in trouble and...
Tell you what, I'll tell you where I sent Mr. Pickett if you promise to look for him.
Thanks, Captain.
All right then. Leave town through the southern gate, the one right here. And
past the ruins? That's Manta territory, all right. My professional opinion is that we leave that idiot to his well-deserved fate. No offense.
Last Mana Queen I saw was in the wilds out that-a-ways. Yeah, you find him yet? I sent him past the ruins just south of town. He was... Oh, good. Celia hasn't come by in a few days.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir. Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today?
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse? And not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
He's sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff. I couldn't. What if he says no? Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like, plus, he's got great legs. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away. Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say? You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. But I'll warn you, Grim wore her patience thin a long time ago. Oh, have you talked to him?
You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts? Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that Raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because... Nice of you to say. I like her too. Wait, I see what's going on.
Oh, no, that's not it at all. She's smitten with you. You smited her. Smote? Smoot?
Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Oh, but if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice.
Give her a chance. Give yourself a chance. Take her someplace nice.
Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice.
That's the spirit, Sebastian. Be yourself. Between you and me, Captain, I'm not sure Miss Celia knows him too well, but we can hope, right?
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? Okay, but how did he say it? Did he sound excited? Or like he was just agreeing to it? Was he like, yay, a date with Celia. I've secretly been waiting for this. Or was it more, sure, I don't have anything else going on. Oh, I will. Now I've just got to figure out which jumpsuit I'm wearing and how I'm fixing my hair. Ah, look at me going on. I'm sure you've got other things to do, and Mr. Anyhow, thank you.
If you want to talk to the boss, she's in the back of the warehouse.
Hey, Velma, I got your caffeinoid pills.
You're a lifesaver. Hope Abigail didn't give you a hard time.
Just the usual. Any word on Braxton?
Nothing. Don't know how much longer I can cover for him either. Give me those pills, will you?
Here you go. You know, you might consider a real night's sleep instead.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? Well, if you're that friendly about it, then you definitely aren't one of Catherine's sublight toughs. Hope you can forgive my temper. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing. This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grim his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So that about cover it? She runs the betting parlor across the way. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too. I don't have time for Grim. It's staying locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money. Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. Damn right he will. Hopefully that'll be the last I see of him for a while. Take the poster then. And if I never hear another word about it, it'll be too soon. Something else on your mind? Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Caleb Herrick. Runs the autoloader operators. He thinks I don't pay them enough for flipping switches and turning dials.
So the job's easy, but you're not doing it? Something smells here.
He and his whole crew walked out. Because we've got a budget, all right? And in case you haven't noticed, MSI doesn't exactly have a lot of spare bits on hand. Not on Monarch. Sanjar threw out the old work mandates and penalties. Sure, until your workers start making ridiculous demands. You mind slapping him around a little while you're at it? I'm joking. Mostly. If you can find a way to get him back to work, I'll make it worth your while. Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals. We're not keen on rules for rules' sake around here. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra drugs he's been taking from supply. Stealing's such a nasty word. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. I don't have the bits for it, plain and simple. Besides, if I make an exception for him, I gotta do the same for everyone. Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches.
I'll wager she don't pay those folks that maintain the mechanicals decent neither.
Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. For running me ragged while he takes an extended leave at the bar? Maybe so, but I bet you Caleb runs out of bits first. He says he's got a stash to tide his crew over. Could be he's all talk, but if the money's real, I bet you he keeps it at home.
You'd steal from your own people? That's low, ma'am.
That's business. Fine by me.
Smells like wrapped in here.
Have you had time to check on that poster yet? I keep wondering if it's come in. Would you look at that? The Rizzo's logo is nice and bright, and you can still smell the ink on Mr. Holcomb's signature. I can't thank you enough. Still, you can have the bits I was going to spend at the bar this week. And you know what? Take my old tossball blocker, too. Never get the chance to use it these days.
New face, huh? Nothing at all. Just like to be friendly like with newcomers. A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, let me buy you a drink. Why don't you grab a chair?
By the smell, he's been reveling enough for you both already.
Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. We're untethered. Well, as long as we don't run out of bits. But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. It ain't any one thing but the sum of it all, having to work longer shifts for less bits. Our supervisor, Velma, goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't... We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us... Sure thing. What did you want to discuss? Nope. I'm calling her bluff. If she wants to threaten us, we'll see how she likes it when Sanjar finds out she gave Sublight even more dominion in Stellar Bay. If I knew that, I'd have tried it. Talking reasonably got me nowhere. The others wanted to blackmail her, but we're above that. Besides, them are just rumors. I would never endorse such an untoward tactic, you know, but, well, there's rumors that Velma's taking a cut off the profits. So far, it's just gossip, you know, but if there was any proof to be had, it'd be in the Saltuna warehouse, I reckon.
Caleb's doing the talking.
Someone's been killed!
Nice to see Mioka on the mend.
That queen ain't gonna go down easy. What's up? Great work.
I think I'm gonna be sick. I clean the apartments while everyone's at work. If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Sorry. Just spoke me, was all. Even Stellar Bay ain't safe these days. What's the world coming to?
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. I'd heard they'd gotten a new hacker. Is that why everyone's making such a fuss about you? Ha! Maybe we're not so isolated as I thought. So, what can I do for you? Graham's always filling the airwaves with this propaganda. All it means is the tossball games get to us in fragments. Poor Isaac. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in a few days. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet fellow. Right. So the thing with Isaac is he didn't know where to stop. He'd get stuck on something, and he just couldn't let it go. Sometimes he'd drink purpleberry punch by the liter. I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and his buddies pushing Isaac around. They're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay getting rowdy over tossball games. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bullies.
I'm real sorry about your friend, Smoker. Hey, no one deserves to go like that. Certainly not folks just trying to get by.
Thanks for saying that. You know, after seeing so many people get chomped, trip into sulfur pool, shot by marauders, I always figured we'd die young. But just because you expect it doesn't make it any easier. Oh, shit. Next chance we get, I'm buying you a Spectre bottle, so we can proper drown this melancholy.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to try Spectrum when we went out drinking. Is it any good?
It is without a doubt the worst, most foul liquid mankind has ever had the misfortune to invent. You'll love it. Time for a round of whist. Or a round of whiskey. Or both.
I don't like the way folks are looking at me, Captain. Like I'm a sandwich. Maybe I could stand a little closer to you. Did you have a sweetheart in Stellar Bay?
I had a fling or two, sure. But on Monarch, relationships ain't usually meant to last. A lot of fools tried to impress me, feigning bravado in the wilds, thinking they'd catch my attention with their stories. It was cute. Not so cute when their act got themselves munched. You know what's sexy? Confidence. You know what ain't? Disembowelment.
I don't have time for this. Carry on.
Hey, what are you doing here? Berta already pissed by those crates to market. Listen, that purple-toothed twerp had it coming. And not that it's any of your business. I don't think so. You're a loose end now.
Here they come! And we're alive.
Aha, the helpful stranger I've heard so much about. Here to do business, hmm? Clear my schedule. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review?
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. What a charming notion. One doesn't... Forgive me, I'd be positively enraptured. Now, there's no need to humor me.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back. Surviving alone isn't as easy as it looks. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and...
So-called is right. We've got our hazards, but we're still here, damn it.
I don't... Dang it, Captain, that's not right.
We've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but...
You talk like Graham.
Freedom always sounds nice, doesn't it? But if you sit down and tally up the costs, how you provide for yourself in the absence of aid, how you protect yourself from a hostile galaxy, it starts to lose its shine.
Indeed. Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
But will that help the people here, Mr. Sanjar?
That's precisely what I'm trying to do.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended. With a Bolt 52 cartridge, of course. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. In the old arms building southwest of town, which... So taciturn, so dour. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. What can I do for you? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes. I've asked myself the same thing many times. Not intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. Really? I always thought they were refreshingly straightforward names.
Here, though, the results were mixed.
That ain't fair. They didn't leave on account of the hazards. They left on account of their cowardice.
Sharp as ever, Nyoka. And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out. Our leadership at the time certainly wanted to, but there were others of us who saw an opportunity. Ah, so you've heard about our prior acquaintance. I suppose you're right. Graham's always had a way with words. Graham seemed like a reasonable man years ago. I thought reforms would be enough. Reforms are humane, but they're also good business sense.
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar.
Here, here. That may not be the way the colony works, but it damn well oughta.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. No, they laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2. Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. I don't know. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources.
Yeah, that'd go a long way toward rebuilding our homes.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community. I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships, besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
Yes, it'll be easier to explain once we have the Bolt 52. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and
It's straight bullshit is what it is. A fabrication rich folks use to preserve their investments.
Nyoka has the right of it. It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
But wait, what happens to the folks stuck on the wrong side of dangerous?
I'm afraid the welfare of a few hundred people is too minor a figure into the board's risk assessments. Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Well, technically, he may have suggested it, but he certainly wasn't doing the paperwork himself. Technically, he does. What exactly are you accusing me of? Until we're back on the board, I need to run those advertisements. Besides, Graham's the one you should really be concerned about. His propaganda does nothing but crowd the frequency. What can I do for you? I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff? Well, that's excellent. What else can I do for you? But that's terrible. But that means we won't be able to log their testimonies. If there's one thing I've been hoping to re-establish in Stellar Bay, it's proper documentation for legal matters. Always a shame when tempers get the better of good sense. Still, your intervention in the matter is much appreciated. You think we're the problem? It isn't easy keeping a town like Stellar Bay afloat, especially without the board's backing. Indeed. That's why it's imperative that MSI be reinstated onto the board. And the first step is getting the Bolt 52.
Here to do business with Sanjar? Nice that Celia's finally got a date. She needs to get out more.
I hear those rich people in Byzantium pay a handsome bit for that. Whoa, by the stars, my poor heart. Most people don't. Besides, this place is enough to try anyone's nerves. Where should I begin? With the oversized mantisaurs? The board was right. This place isn't fit for human habitation. Sanjar, of course. He had all these glorious ideas about how he'd run Monarch.
You company folk are all the same. Choose to stay, then complain about the choice you've made.
How was I supposed to know it'd turn out like this? It all sounds wonderful, until you realize it's only a few centimeters of repurposed steel. I could do with a few kilometers of cold vacuum. Only every day. But in case you haven't noticed, we don't exactly get ships on a regular basis. And even if I did scrape together enough to buy passage out with sublight, which would mean reaching Fallbrook without getting eaten, shot, or dissolved into green goop, what then? Nothing, that's what. Even talking about it has my blood pressure up. That was a real popular meal 10, 20 years back. These days, everybody's had a belly full of salt tuna. They all want borscht. And the mushrooms, well, not many venture out of town, what with the monsters hereabouts. I can whip one up for you, but it'll cost.
Oh, yikes. I can't cover this much, Captain.
You got it. I got all the ingredients. Should only take about an hour in the oven. There we are. Now, if you don't mind, I really need to take a leak.
My belly's gurgling just to smell it, Mr. Raymond. Thank you so much.
A pleasure to help such a charming young lady.
Oh, gosh. My tum's rumbling just smelling that casserole.
Whatever you do, don't mention crossbow to Kaiser. You'll never hear the end of it.
You know,
If you got me stuck in a wall.
You startled me. Don't Jumpy? Who's Jumpy? I'm not... Braxton. I've never even heard of a Braxton. Oh, in that case... He told me he was delivering to this house in the ruins south of town. So maybe look for him there?
I'll be straight with you. Folk who disappear in the wilderness generally aren't able to come back. Don't get your hopes up.
ever worry all that ammo in your berth might combust?
Wait, that's... It can do... What do you think of the unreliable Parvati?
There's always something to fix, and it's neat working in the Aether. I always took Atmo for granted. Now, if I drill through the hole, we'll suffocate. Exciting, you know.
I'm not sure I wanted to know that. Being in space sets me on edge enough.
You know about stellar emissions? Actually, I probably shouldn't tell you about those. I mean, not unless you want to know how we're all likely to get spacers lung.
Right. Okay. When we get back to the ship, I'm drinking this conversation right out of my recollection.
Here they come!
Damn, but we're good.
A visitor? What an unexpected surprise!
I'm getting real bad fight or flight right now. Watch your step.
The Edgewater deserters were perfectly nice, and they lived outside the city walls.
That's the spirit. I'm afraid we don't get many visitors out here. And if you've braved them, you must be exhausted. I'm sure I would remember something. Now, quit fretting yourself about that.
Something ain't right about this.
What a pleasant surprise. Yet the Eternal provide. And who could? Stretch out your hand and cosmic divinity reaches back. That they do. Look at me, prattling on as if this gravy is going to cook itself.
Oh, hi there. That's wonderful. There was this other man who used to bring them. He said they were making us sick. They went to have a talk with him. Mama and Papa said he came from the city. When we got sick one time, he brought those candies to make... And they worked. Now we feel better than ever. I don't know. I'm not really supposed to talk to strangers. Okay. Maybe I'll see you at dinner.
Way she said that reminded me of a rat licking its chops.
Hey, what are you doing in my room? Liar! You're trying to steal the last of my rocket candies, aren't you? The ones that come in a bottle with a rocket ship on it.
self-sodden assholes. Ain't enough that the rats eat everyone? Now people are doing it too?
I'm gonna be sick.
But what's this? You're tracking blood into the kitchen. Oh dear.
Quickly, my dear. He's getting agitated.
Don't worry.
How many others are you supposed to kill?
They didn't deserve to die so clean. So the ship talks? Do all ships do that?
I can't say for certain, since I only ever been on this one. Ada's something special though, ain't she?
Velma seemed out of sorts.
Ada, what is it? She? It? I'm a bit fuzzy on the details.
Used to be I thought she was a simulated intelligence. You know, a long series of commands telling her how to react to certain inputs.
Used to. What do you think now?
Well, I worked with a lot of machines, and ain't none of them like her. They can be pretty smart, but mostly they're rule books with a voice box. Ada's different.
One of life's mysteries, I suppose. I don't trust her. If it crashes us into a star, I'll be a mite upset.
I'd give you a friendlier welcome, but...
Who spat in your spirits, Velma?
You noticed my mood?
I could be seeing triple and I'd still think you're being unkind.
Well, you try wrangling half a ton of dead fish with decades-old equipment. Anyway, what do you folks need? That he's got his load on and I'm stuck covering his shift? That's... Wow. I sure feel like an ass now. Ease up. I'm running on a chronic shortage of sleep here. Still, it's good to know what happened to him. Something else on your mind? Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again? If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I don't even want to think about that. Fine. Tell Caleb he and his team can have their raise.
case I did not impress it upon you before.
Why don't you grab a chair? Sure thing. How'd you manage that? Wait, never mind. If I question it, it'll turn out not to be true. Here, take this as compensation. It ain't a lot, but I hope it shows how much we appreciate all you've done. Now, me and my friends here better get back to work.